These are ways we sabotage ourselves, sometimes consciously. These tactics, which include 1. Setting bad goals, 2. Procrastination, 3. Indulging in temptations and distractions, and 4. Poor time management, inhibit us from maximizing the time and energy we have toward productive ends. Setting bad goals. One way we handicap ourselves from following through is by setting bad goals, such as those that are too abstract or downright impossible. Setting bad goals is like buying the wrong map for a road trip. It prevents us from following through because the directions are skewed and confusing. It eventually causes us to lose patience and will to keep on in our journey, which we often end up abandoning halfway through. When our goals are too abstract, we find ourselves lost as to what needs to be done in order to reach them. For example, if we say our goal is to be healthier and yet don't even specify what we mean by healthier, we're less likely to take steps toward accomplishing it. We want to follow through, but we don't know how. When our goals are too high or unrealistic for any mortal to reach, we find ourselves looking up at an impossibly high ladder without rungs. The beauty of this is that no one would be able to accuse us of not trying hard enough to climb, because there are no rungs in the first place. We are absolved from the guilt of not following through. Take, for instance, a plant manager aiming to double manufacturing output despite real logistical limitations. Since the goal is impossible to achieve anyway, whether he follows through or not wouldn't make a difference, and so he's saved from both the trouble of having to follow through and the guilt from not doing so. Procrastination. This is one of the most widely used tactics in the book. We are somehow exceptionally talented at delaying work until we absolutely need to do it, until the very last minute. In fact, we're so talented at delaying work that we could convince others, and even ourselves, that we're already working even when we're not. One way we procrastinate is with endless planning. We plan all the details of our task, and once we're done planning, we decide that either the plan needs revising or the task itself needs to be scrapped. Then we plan for a new task, and so on, all the while conveniently unaware of the fact that all the planning we're doing is also a form of procrastination. Ultimately, it's something best referred to as productive procrastination because it feels like you're getting somewhere, but you're really just moving in place. If we can get away with putting off a task at the moment, we tend to do so because it's easy, comfortable, and stress-free. This is how a lot of would-be success stories get to be just that would-have been. A lifetime string of laters ends up being woven into the noose of never. Temptations and distractions. The road of following through would be easy enough to tread, without delay, if it were like a hallway with blank walls on either side. If you didn't have a choice, you might very well put your head down and work. But no. This road is lined with all sorts of shiny trinkets, glittering detour signs, and inviting rest stops. Temptations and distractions come aplenty these days, with something as simple as a red notification alert on our phone screens flooding our brains with feel-good chemicals that, in turn, keep us glued to our phones even longer. Take, for example, a marketing officer tasked to develop a campaign to promote a new product. She is well aware of the research she needs to do, the reports she needs to write, the presentations she needs to start prepping. But instead of following through and retaining focus so she gets things done faster, her hours are riddled by Snapchat conversations, YouTube binges, and endless Instagram scrolls. Eventually, the research may get done, the reports may get written, and the presentations may be prepped, but such are not likely to reflect her true potential. But of course, we cannot rid the world of temptations and distractions. After all, they're not the main problem. The main problem is that we lack the know-how to properly deal with them. While they may come aplenty on either side of the road, there are two ways we can still manage the situation through 1. Strategic avoidance, and 2. Healthy, moderate use. First, we may implement strategies to avoid temptations and distractions. For example, if we're distracted by frequent notifications from social media, we may schedule blocks of time during which we're logged out from our social media accounts while we focus on our work. Second, we may deal with temptations and distractions in a healthy and productive way. We don't need to deprive ourselves of tempting and enjoyable leisure activities for the rest of our lives just so we could follow through on our goals. In fact, we're not supposed to. Giving ourselves a well-deserved break by indulging in activities we find enjoyable would help recharge us, so we could function better. The key is in having the discipline enough to indulge on those activities in a healthy way. For instance, we may periodically reward ourselves with a 10-minute break, during which we log back in and check on our social media accounts after we accomplish a set amount of work. Poor time management. So much to do, and not enough time to do it. How many times have you heard these words spoken by a colleague, a family member, or the person looking back at you in the mirror? And how many times could you see that it's not time they lacked, but the ability to use their time productively? We all have the same amount of time in the day. Time management is the practice of using time in a way that maximizes productivity and efficiency. Good time management involves not only the ability to schedule tasks, but also the insight and good judgment to recognize which tasks are best done when. Moreover, it requires having the self-discipline to do tasks as initially planned and the focus to organize resources accordingly. With good time management, a schedule is cleverly organized and then promptly followed, so tasks get done as planned. On the other hand, bad time management involves a lack of planning, organization, focus, and self-discipline. We forget, overlook, or miscalculate tasks in terms of how much time they'd require for completion, leading to a domino effect that messes up the rest of our plans. We fail to foresee and provide for the resources we need for the activities we've planned, leading to delays and cancellations. We fail to prioritize our activities, instead choosing to spend our time doing non-essential tasks, leading to unsuccessful endeavors, plus maybe a scolding glare from our boss. Life in the 21st century is challenging our ability to maintain work-life balance like no other time before. With technology allowing more work hours as well as more entertainment options than ever, we no longer seem to find 24 hours enough to fit in everything we need and want to do in a day. With such demands and lifestyles, poor time management has become the norm, and good time management is a superpower only the enlightened have seemed to master. And if we can't even manage our time when it comes to our day-to-day tasks, how could we expect to find time to follow through on our bigger life plans?